The most potent 1-2 punch in racing history. Honda's number 11, David Bailey, a young, determined and supremely talented rider who tore up the tracks like a legend in the making. The second half of that combination was a legend already made. The winningest rider in motocross history, Bob Hanna. Together, they were the dominant force to reckon with in virtually every moto in the 1983 Supercross season. A season of rejoicing, disaster, and calamity. And lastly, a season which found David Bailey at the top of the point standings and the champion of Supercross. In only his second year on the professional circuit, David Bailey had arrived. Washougal, Washington, August 14th, 1983. A beautiful, sun-drenched day in the country for the 20,000 motocross fans in attendance. A chance to escape the city, the job, the daily routine, and enjoy some cold beer, good food, and world-class motocross racing. A perfect opportunity to kick back, chow down, and entertain your friends with a bad impersonation of Kojak. But for the top contenders like Honda's number 11, David Bailey, there was a lot more at stake.
Well, right now, rather than trying to protect the points lead, thinking about just going out there and treating this as the first race of the season, because with 3 races left, anything can happen. Right now, for me, the best thing to do is try to get some good starts and stay out of first turn crashes, and go as fast as I can, go 100%, and try to beat Bob and everybody else that's out there. Try to win every moto I can, and I'd like to finish off the year with a perfect score.
Washougal, Washington, it's showtime. Going in for the hole shot. It's on the inside. Number 12, Honda's Bob Hurricane Hanna. Just to his left and coming around the outside line is privateer Kenny the Dart Sart, number 750. The first 250 moto is on its way. Or is it? Out of the turn 3 melee, we've got Burnworth in first with Hanna right on his heels. The traffic jam is back at turn 3, and Supercross champion David Bailey is right in the thick of it, while his teammate Hanna is way out in front of the pack, chasing Burnworth for the lead. Bailey is in dead last. This is exactly the situation he was trying to avoid. Over the whoop-de-doos, here comes the Hurricane. Bob Hanna, and Burnworth is nowhere in sight. Hanna is completely alone in first place, and yet he's riding like the devil himself is chasing him. Who looks totally amazed that someone can ride that fast. The coals are hot, steam's up, and Hanna is pouring it on.
Further back in the field, young David Bailey had battled his way into 4th place after a disastrous start. Although he was too far back to catch Bob Hanna and win this particular race, his ability to consistently finish in the top 5 for every event he entered would keep him in contention for the 250cc National Championship and the overall point standings award, the AMA Super Series. Having already won the 1983 Supercross title in just his second year on the circuit, Bailey had a clear shot of winning motocross's first Triple Crown.
David Bailey, the little professor, sheer guts and determination. But this moto is going to go to number 12, Bob Hurricane Hanna, winning his first race since breaking both wrists in a practice run in April.
Oh, I got a good start. Fairly easy for a while. I got kind of tired. I haven't been on a bike in enough lately. It's a little warm out there for me. So I kind of dropped off the pace at the end. I figured I'd get as big a lead as I could get, and then I could drop off at the end, and I just missed that. I don't know what he was trying to do.
Reflecting on the first moto, Bailey was not as contented with himself as was his teammate Bob Hanna. David had not enjoyed his first moto.
I think his head was still at the starting line because he just didn't use his head. He took me down and a few others and himself, and I had to come from way behind. There's been a few things in the bike, and it's just the way it goes.
Rivalry, even amongst teammates, is a natural consequence of professional sports. Top riders like Bailey and Hanna are aware of it, and so are their fans.
Bob Hanna! David Bailey! Bob Hanna! David Bailey! Bob Hanna! What you stop for? David Bailey! Bob Hanna!
The second moto at Washougal. Until the gate drops, everyone's tied for first.
Erupting over Mount St. Helens, it's Johnson, number 49, Burnworth, 16, and Bad Weather Bob, number 12. This race will really test Hanna's endurance. At 26 years of age, he's an old man compared to most of these riders, and he's also been on the sidelines for several weeks following his crash in Gainesville. Look out! Hang in there, old fella! Burnworth and Hanna still duking it out in second and third behind Johnson in the lead. The race right now is for second place. If Burnworth lets up for a second, he'll be looking at the dirt roofs flying off the Hurricane's rear tire. Burnworth and Hanna take the battle for second into the air. Hanna stays airborne a split second longer, but he's got the inside line going into the hairpin. This is where Hanna's strength and guts usually pays big dividends. There he goes, pushing Burnworth to the outside and smoking him. Lesson number one, never give Bob Hanna the inside line if you want to keep him behind you. Lapping the slow riders, Hanna's teammate David Bailey is pushing hard in fourth place. Once again, the little professor is consistently riding in the money. And right in front of him, Hanna and Burnworth are still slugging it out for second behind Ricky Johnson. There's one thing you can say about this Washougal crowd. They sure enjoy a good race, and Hanna is giving them their money's worth.
By the end of the second moto, Bailey would once again prove how consistency can pay off. Unlike his teammate Hanna, who rides with an almost reckless abandon, Bailey is the epitome of smooth, low-risk technique. In their post-race interviews, Bailey and Hanna also display another difference. Bailey, by Hanna's standards, still a relative newcomer to the professional circuit, gets very much involved in the emotions of winning and losing. Hanna, on the other hand, who already has 6 national championships to his credit, is very much the seasoned veteran, taking in stride the mechanical difficulties which caused him to drop out of the moto he potentially could have won.
I got a good start. Felt a little tired. Just went as fast as I had to go. Didn't even want to go that fast. Still tired. And started missing gears. Figured they're going to have a little problem, but not a major one. And then probably broke a tooth off the gearbox or something and just seized it up. Just tired. Real tired. Hands tired.
It was dusty, and I just tried to ride as fast as I could, as fast as I could see. Move up into third, and I got behind Johnson. And all of a sudden, just started making a lot of mistakes, and then I just couldn't put anything together. It just wasn't my day.
In the 125 class, Honda's hopes of winning the national championship were riding on number 4, Jonathan Patrick O'Mara, known in the trade as Johnny Osho, for his flamboyant and sometimes bizarre antics. Although he claims to have mellowed out in his old age, he's 21, he's still very much the showman and crowd pleaser for thousands of motocross fans. The 125 national championship had belonged to Suzuki's Mark Barnett, number 1 for the past 3 years. But going into the final 3 nationals of the '83 season, O'Mara had a 35-point lead over Barnett, a 12-point lead over Kawasaki's Jeff Ward, number 9, and a 47-point lead over Yamaha's 16-year-old newcomer, Ron Lachine, number 224. He also had the experience of 3 years on the national circuit. And with that experience came the knowledge that consistency, not recklessness, would bring back the title to Honda for the first time since Marty Smith held it in 1975.
Well, riding a 125 does take a lot of different type of riding skills because the power that you got is limited. The bike is real light and stuff, so you're able to maneuver it really easy. One mistake on a 125 is like you can lose 2 seconds a lap, just by one mistake. So in our racing where it's so intense and all the other riders are usually not making mistakes, just by one mistake can either win it or lose it for you. So you just got to really be aggressive on the 125 and just concentrate on what you're doing and just getting the power to the ground without losing your momentum and stuff like that. There's 4 or 5 guys that are right there that are capable of winning, so it's just, being mentally prepared and physically prepared helps a lot. On a 125, there might be an advantage on someone's bike or something, but it's more or less the rider. It's up to the rider to perform. So you gotta know how to ride one. And I've been riding one ever since I've started. So I've always specialized in that class. So I kind of know what it takes to ride one and what to do. I've been riding professional for 7 years now. All these years have added up. So I feel that right now is the time to win the championship. And it's an important thing in my life, so I'm going to do whatever it takes to win that this year.
August 21st, Lakewood, Colorado, the next to last event on the national circuit. And much like the fans all across the country, the Rocky Mountain motocross spectators are just as vocal for their favorites.
Montana! David Bailey! Montana!
A strong performance by Bailey here in Colorado could very well lock up his first 250cc national championship. But first, he'd have to get by Hurricane Hannah, Yamaha's Johnson, and Suzuki's Burnworth. Nothing comes on the silver platter in professional motocross.
Going into turn 1, 32 guys in a very big hurry. Taking the whole shot at Suzuki's Burnworth, shadowed by the Honda Hurricane, number 12, Bob Hanna, and the little professor, David Bailey, number 11. Into the second turn, it's Burnworth and Hanna, elbow to elbow, side by side, and handlebar to handlebar. Bailey staying close in third, watching Hanna and Burnworth slug it out directly in front of him. If either one of those guys makes a mistake, Mr. Bailey's going to eat him alive. Hanna's down. Bob Hanna's crashed. He looks to be okay, but he's definitely out of this one. A bad break for the Hurricane, but it's just the opening Bailey needed. Hanna walks his bike off the track as the beat goes on. We've got a wild one now. Number 33, Lyles, 29, Johnson, 11, Bailey, and 16, Burnworth are all in a position to win this moto. It's showtime. I mean, are we having fun yet? Johnson, number 29, has got first, Bailey second. Here comes Billy the Bullet Lyles, number 33, going inside on Bailey to take second. This is outrageous. Bailey returns the favor on the next corner. Smoking Lyles and Johnson. Bailey's got the lead. Wow, Bailey takes the double Magoo in one jump, lapping a back marker. He is Elgato, Sayonara, Arrivederci. These are the good times.
At the Washougal races, Bailey proved he could overcome adversity and finish respectably in the points. But here in Colorado, he came to do just one thing: win.
Well, I got a really good start. I was first or second, and I decided to shut off and try to take the inside, thinking that Scott Burnworth, who had the lead, would go wide. And as I did so, somebody from the inside hit me from on the left side and pushed me out to the outside, and a bunch of riders went by. My heart was doing the hummingbird, and I just didn't want to get any kind of a crash right in the first lap because the track was extremely slippery and everywhere.
We asked his dad, world-renowned motocross instructor Gary the Professor Bailey, what advice he'd given his son.
Mostly just to stay relaxed, don't take any unnecessary chances, just gather all the points that he can toward the championship.
They're lined up for the start of the second 250 moto. All eyes are on number 11, David Bailey. And there they go. Bailey looks to his right to see who got a good start. Bailey's on the inside looking for the hole shot. But it's Johnson, number 29, in the lead, with Bailey right at his tailpipe. The lead's changed hands now with Burnworth, number 16, in first, Bailey second. And there goes the little professor, already past Burnworth and into first. If he hangs on, this could wrap up his first 250 national title. Bailey is supercharged. He knows what a win here could mean. He is just letting it all hang out today. David Bailey takes the checkered flag for his second first-place finish in Lakewood. What a day for number 11. Is he happy? I mean, is he having fun yet?
The two 125 motors would prove to be a double-edged sword, both here in Colorado and again in the final race of the year in Minnesota. At stake was the 125 championship for O'Mara and the AMA Super Series championship for David Bailey. The Super Series title is awarded to the rider with the most overall points from both his Supercross and Motocross events. Bailey's only competition for this award was Suzuki's Mark Barnett. But all David could do about Barnett was sit and watch, hoping that his teammate O'Mara or the young upstart Lachine could defuse Mark the Bomber Barnett.
Time. Barnett number 1, Lachine 224, and O'Mara number 4, all going for it. Out of turn 1, it's Ron Lachine, the 16-year-old super kid, showing his rear tire to both Barnett and O'Mara. Barnett passes O'Mara on the inside to take second, and everyone's chasing Sweet 16. O'Mara's main threat for the 125 championship, number 9, Jeff Ward, is right behind him, just where the O-Show wants him. Barnett's in second, and Ward's past O'Mara. Johnny O's got a fight in his hand. Ward's taken second away from Barnett. Good news for David Bailey, bad news for O'Mara. O'Mara and Barnett are locked up in a struggle for third. And Barnett cuts off O'Mara on the hairpin and pays the piper. Again in slow-mo. Take away my line, will ya? Crash! Are we having fun yet? I mean, can we talk?
The first motor would go to Ron Lachine. Ward second, O'Mara third, and Barnett fourth. Motor number 2 would be just as wild and woolly.
Over the rockers, O'Mara's losing his bike. Johnny O's hanging on for dear life. Ride him, cowboy. I can't believe he's still on that bike. Man, that is just sheer willpower. With so much at stake, O'Mara just refused to crash. something out of the O-show. He's gone way too wide on the next turn, and Barnett's smoking him on the inside. But once again, Barnett, O'Mara, and Ward are playing catch the kid. Lachine is way out in front. Johnny O's got it together after that near disaster on the whoop-de-doos and takes off past Barnett and into second place. Right now, they're running Lachine and O'Mara 1-2, and it looks like it's going to hold up.
It did hold up. Lachine again upset the standings with the victory. O'Mara evened the score with Ward by placing second, Ward third, and Barnett surprisingly finished fifth. 1 week later, Team Honda arrived in Millville, Minnesota for the final race of the year. David Bailey drew a crowd everywhere he went. The word was out. The little professor had already won the Supercross championship, was a sure bet to win the 250cc title, and depending upon his and Barnett's performances today, could possibly win the AMA Super Series.
Actually, I was more nervous last week than I am this week. This week is, I don't have a worry in the world. If I win everything, it's just a bonus for me. And if I don't win anything at all, I already won the Supercross championship and a Grand Prix, and I get to go to the Trophy of the Nation. If I completely blow it today, I've had a pretty successful year, so I'm not worried about anything at all. I'm just going to go out there and go fast.
On the morning of what could be the biggest day of his professional career, Bailey appeared to be very calm. Bob Hanna even calmer. But inside, everyone in the Honda camp, including Bailey, realized just how important the Millville races were. Neither his teammate, Hanna, nor the other factory riders were about to let Bailey take the biggest prize of all without a fight. Bailey's strategy was simply to win both motos. The overall point spread between himself and Barnett in the 125 class was just too close for anything else. As if in anticipation, David's father, Gary, was recording the whole event for posterity. But no one could really appreciate the pressure that was on David Bailey. To succeed would mean true graduation for the little professor.
All right, Millville, Minnesota, listen to the sound when the gate goes down. Into turn one, it's Bailey, Burnworth, and Hanna. Bailey's got the whole shot, and he's taking the lead. Burnworth is closing in on Bailey, and he's slipped by him on the far side to take first. Hanna's riding third. Look at the different lines taken by Hanna and Bailey as they both look for the fastest way to catch Scott Burnworth. Burnworth may be out in front now, but it's a 30-minute moto, and that gives Hanna and Bailey both time to establish their own rhythm and pace that will last the entire moto and hopefully beat Burnworth. Bailey's still in front of Hanna, but Hanna looks strong, and he is strong. If anything, Bailey is looking too relaxed. Out Bailey to take second behind Burnworth. Bailey has got to be feeling the pressure. Just 1 point may decide the Super Series championship. Mark Barnett, are you watching? Over the rockers, the Hurricane unleashes some Honda horsepower and stuffs Burnworth on the hairpin. Never give Bob Hanna the inside line if you want to keep him behind you. Burnworth should have learned that lesson from Washougal. Meanwhile, Bailey has dropped off to fourth place behind Johnson and Burnworth, who are second and third. He's got to pour it on if he wants a shot at that Super Series Triple Crown. The little professor cannot afford to stand by and watch Barnett in the 125 motos possibly steal his chances at a record-setting year. And don't forget, there's a great deal of money at stake here. Mega bucks. Roger DeCoster knows it. Bob Hanna knows it. And David Bailey can almost taste it. Bailey, who knows that Hanna is in the lead, can only feel the frustration of having to follow his arch rivals, Ricky Johnson and Scott Burnworth. But it's Hanna who's setting the pace and takes the victory.
Bailey would not get the victory he so badly needed in the first moto. The little professor took fourth behind Hanna, Johnson, and Burnworth. All he could do now was sit back and watch the 125 race and rethink his strategy for the second and last moto of the 1983 season. The pressure of competition and success doesn't stop at the checkered flag. The time between motos gives a rider a chance to physically rest, but often mentally worry.
final for the 125 moto. Out of the hole shot, it's number 20, George Holland with the lead. O'Mara, number 4, giving chase, along with a hungry Mark the Bomber Barnett, number 1, and 16-year-old Ron Lachine, number 224. In front of O'Mara, then Brian Myerscough, number 42, but charging like a wild rhino is Mark the Bomber Barnett. Barnett, who flew by O'Mara and Holland, realizes this is the final 2 motos of the year. He's all but lost the 125 National Championship, and now Barnett must claw his way to the Super Series Championship. The Bomber is riding like a man possessed. He wants it bad. David Bailey, are you watching? O'Mara is not one to give up, even when feeling secure with his own championship. As Bailey's teammate, he must feel that he needs to score any extra points that Barnett might accumulate. Myerscough following O'Mara, but they're both following Mark the Bomber Barnett, who in turn is trying to stay ahead of a charging Ron Lachine. O'Mara's got a national championship on the line, and he's riding for pride, but he's riding hard just the same. Barnett is doing battle with young Ron Lachine for first place. Myerscough is in third, O'Mara's fourth, and Ward sixth, which is just fine with the O-Show. Last lap, Lachine's in first, Barnett second, and O'Mara fourth. Barnett has got to be going crazy. This kid Lachine is just killing him. O'Mara with a fourth place must just be tasting the championship champagne with only one 30-minute moto to go.
That's how Moto 1 finished. Once again, young Ron Lachine usurped Barnett's chances of getting ahead in the point standings for the Super Series crown. For O'Mara, there were mixed feelings. The inward knowledge that he'd only to stay ahead of Jeff Ward to bring home the long-awaited championship, but offsetting that glimmer of joy was his own disgust at only managing fourth place in the first moto. Was Johnny O'Show feeling the strain, the pressure to succeed in the closing moments of a long season? The final moto would show. After finishing fourth in the first moto, Bailey and Barnett were in a virtual dead heat in the point standings, with Barnett holding a slight advantage. If they both won their respective motos, Barnett would win the Super Series. David Bailey had his work cut out for him, and everybody in Millville knew it. With a last good luck handshake from his younger brother, who showed up fashionably attired in a Johnny O'Mara t-shirt, Bailey set about his work.
This is it, everybody. The final for the Champagne Glory and Gold for the 250 National Championship. Bailey has got the eye of the tiger. He's taken over first place with teammate Hanna in second. Bailey, first out of the chute. He knows he's got to win, and he's setting a tremendous pace. A pace that only his teammate and rival, Bob the Hurricane Hanna, can match. Bailey's riding with forceful style, so different from the first moto. No doubt, Gary the Professor had a pep talk with his son David between motos. This is the end of the season, the last 250 moto of the year, and everything's on the line. Hanna is giving Bailey more pressure than this young racer has ever experienced in his entire career. Hanna is pouring the pressure on. Hanna's moving to first. Bailey has got to catch him to stay close to Barnett for the Super Series. Now we'll see what David Bailey is made of. Team trainer Jeff Spencer encourages Bailey. Go get him. The crowd can sense the need, the rivalry, and the urgency that must permeate every bone in David Bailey's body.
But Bailey was not to be muffed by the heat of the moment and systematically regained the lead from Bob Hanna.
With just 2 laps to go, Bailey's got the lead back over Hanna. Nobody else is even close. What a show these two guys are putting on.
The pace had been incredible. There was no one even close to these Honda men. Bailey wants it bad, and Hanna is making him work for it. Going in for the checkered flag, David Bailey wins it! With his last moto of the year safely tucked away in the victory column, all that was left for Bailey was to sit and watch the final 125 event. If either O'Mara, Lachine, or Ward could keep Barnett one step behind them, the Super Series and the Triple Crown would belong to the little professor.
Into turn one for the last 125cc moto of the year. Barnett's got the inside line for the whole shot, and Ron Lachine is on his tail. David Bailey, are you watching? Barnett's comfortably in first place. Honda's Johnny Osho O'Mara is back in the pack, riding smart and protecting his points lead. O'Mara doesn't have to win this one to take the 125 title, but you'd better believe he'd want to win it even if it were a practice run. The Bomber, on the other hand, has got to win if he's going to take the Super Series championship away from Bailey. Let's hope the little professor is paying attention, because school is in session. All the money's on the table for Team Honda, and the stakes are as high as they can get. The Super Series Championship. Mark Barnett, David Bailey, Johnny O'Mara, and the wild card nobody figured on, young Ron Lachine. You know the players, you know the story. This is the race. O'Mara, Barnett, Barnett, O'Mara, Barnett, and wait a minute, here comes Ron Lachine. He's poured it on. He's taken Barnett. He takes O'Mara, and now he takes the checkered flag. David Bailey, are you watching?
David Bailey won it all. The Supercross title, the 250cc title, and the first
on television tonight on NBC.
Me, the whole concept of fear of success is